I have been going back and forth on email about whether a congregation should have a printed order of service, and I'm basically in favor of having a printed order of service, but on days when I can't read what's to come next, I'm glad y'all just let me go with the flow. Our topic this morning, how to find meaning, grounding, and hope in a chaotic world, emerged from a conversation in one of our covenant groups as members shared how to cope with their significant losses over the past months. And we all have been buffeted in recent weeks by loss either up close and personal or the loss we felt in our bones when one beloved by this culture chose to leave this world too soon. This week, we have remembered the horror of national vulnerability and felt a sense of powerlessness to stop war and violence. On this day, when we have given thanks for those who nurture our children and us, and when we have acknowledged one of our own whose wings have opened to the world, even here among friendly faces, we acknowledge that beneath this pleasure, we hold fear and concern for our world, which always lurks around the edges of our psyches. As we see our children and grandchildren, we wonder, what will their world be like? Today, we might feel that our community is a bit like a loaded ship, being tossed about in an uncertain sea, hoping that we are watertight in that rough sea. How shall we navigate in uncertain seas? How shall we live with meaning and hope in a chaotic world? How will we chart our course for the future? How can we find peace to sustain us as we do what we can to save the world? Finding meaning and hope in the midst of the turbulence is a necessary reality if we are to live with joy in the midst of chaos. This is not to say that we should be naive, but we do need to find ways to live mindfully and with intention. The past couple of weeks, I've really enjoyed conversations with two of our members who are thinking about and beginning to live into their answers about this topic. And they're Mary Carty and Renee Gahan, who both have other obligations, one in town and one out of town this morning. So I want to thank them for their thoughts as they explore ways to live meaningful and hopeful lives. So I'd like to offer some clues that we have found in our exploration. Mary has reintroduced me to two powerful thinkers of our day who I have read over the years, and they have a new book written together, Bell Hooks and Cornel West. They collaborated on the book Breaking Bread, Insurgent Black Intellectual Life. The dialogue between these two writers, who speak as African-American scholars on the challenges of living in our imperfect society, offers suggestions about how our need for spirituality and hope is a universal need crossing bounds of race, culture, and belief. So Bell Hooks says to Cornel West, Cornel, I'm very interested in the relationship between Black people's capacity to love one another and our notions of spirituality. The sense that no matter how downtrodden you are, no matter how beaten down you are, there remains the possibility of redemption and salvation. That message of hope was an integral survival force in Black life. So how can we talk about revitalized notions of spirituality? Is that possible? Cornel West responds, yes, I think it is possible. And I think it's important to understand spirituality as that which sustains hope. That which sustains hope. Yet I don't think Christianity has necessarily, and they're both coming out of a Christian background, I don't think Christianity has necessarily had a monopoly on hope, because there are secular forms, other religious forms, Islamic forms, Judaic forms, and Buddhist forms. But in our present day situation, in which hopelessness is becoming more and more pervasive, it seems to me that we have got to revitalize not just Christian, but all conduits of hope. Let me repeat Dr. West's statement. It is important to understand spirituality as that which sustains hope. And as he said, he's not just talking about the Black experience in America. He's talking about all of us, all people. Spirituality is that which sustains our hope. Though we define spirituality in widely different ways from secular to religious, still, to live with hope, we human beings will need to discover what our beliefs are, those essential grounding beliefs, the framework from which we live with meaning and hope. Meaning is essential for our survival. Hope is essential for survival. Many of us have read this. Viktor Frankl, in his book Man's Search for Meaning, wrote about this reality after surviving the Holocaust. If one cannot find meaning, then survival is indeed precarious. This is important because too often our stress seems to be held almost on a cellular level, which creates a subconscious, pervasive anxiety which walks around with us all the time. In our lives, as we observe the state of our world, we must discover within us a core that helps us find meaning and offers us hope. The question that many of us have today is, how do we develop and nurture a mindset that sustains us in the midst of loss, uncertainty, and devastation? There are two ways that I'd like to highlight that we might be sustained in our time. One is to deepen friendship and community, because both friendship and community offer us a foundation of support necessary in uncertain times. Part of Mary Carty's research has focused on how friendship has changed in our age of economics. Today, friendship is often turned into transaction. Seeing friendship as transaction, I give you this, you give me something back, prevents us from holding one another accountable in compassionate ways. This, in holding each other accountable, that can lead to a deeper engagement with one another. Deep friendships help us become our best selves, help us cope. Friendships support us and challenge us to look at our unexamined patterns of behavior. when we bring deep friendships into our fellowship community and other communities that are important to us, we find that we are able to thrive in new ways and also to become more resilient. Becoming more resilient will be essential as we live into the future. Focusing on deep friendships and community help us remember what is most important in the midst of the constant distractions that can so easily keep us unfocused and less able to be grounded and to stay engaged with the true reality of our lives. Often our friends, family, and community give us the support we need to resist the negativity we find within our culture and world. I've heard people say, I feel frantic about the state of our world. How many of us have felt that way? Yeah, lots of us. Yes, we are bombarded every day by negativity, and our mind can trick us into obsessive thinking and worrying. Reprogramming our minds and ourselves so that we not only see what is broken, but also what is being created is essential if we are to remain healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. Of course, this is easier said than done, which reminds us again of why we need community, friendship, and family to help us keep a balanced perspective in our lives. A second way open to help us find meaning and hope is very individual. It's not communal. We need, and I know you're probably getting tired of me saying this, but we need a discipline of daily prayer, meditation, reflection, whatever we call it that can meet our deepest needs. Do it every day. Because, the reality is that we live as if we are in control of our lives. But that is a risky joke. It's a mind tease. Spend just a few minutes each day to reflect with intention, to get ourselves grounded for the day, to breathe in the morning air. Just a little bit of time, 5 minutes each day, can help us engage life from a more centered place. If you don't have a practice and want to find one or explore some options, let's get together and talk about it, because different people have different ways of engaging. Like any other exercise, Ed can tell you, it's going to take practice and consistency. But you might just find that it shifts your thinking and your living. You might find that instead of feeling like you're in the midst of a hurricane, you reside some days in the quiet eye of the daily storm of our lives. Another thing to consider was offered by Renee Gahan, who actually is our newest member and a yoga teacher. She's been thinking recently about the aspects of prana as we live in this society. Prana is a term from Hindu and Vedic traditions. Prana means life force. All living things have prana, or life force. This life force is believed to emerge from the universe and gives us the ability to be sustained in the world. What we eat and how we breathe either helps or hinders our life force. In other words, what we bring in that is healthy to us, what we bring into our bodies, that is essential for our well-being, is extremely important. So breathing and what we eat are the two things we usually think about. But as a yoga teacher, Renee has come to believe that there's another aspect of life, or prana, that we take daily into our psyches and bodies. It's information. Just as breathing and eating can enhance or inhibit our lives, so can the information we take in. We always need to consider, is this healthy for me or unhealthy? Does the information we ingest in our homes and on screens, it seems in every place that we visit, does this add to our health or simply harm us? To be at optimum health, might we need some kind of moderation to limit the information we take in? This certainly seems sensible when we consider how overloaded our minds and psyches are. But here again, we're going to have to use some intention about finding a balance. For just as we cannot continue to be overwhelmed by the amount of information that we're bombarded with, so we also need to be informed citizens of the world and of this nation. We cannot turn our backs on the state of the world. We will need to find a way to find a harmonious balance between being knowledgeable about the world events and finding peace to help us celebrate with awe, wonder, and goodness. Part of what might help us find a balance is to read about and support those who seek to change the world for good, those who continue to question, to resist the negative forces that seek to control. Yes, the world often feels scary, but we live in the perfect community in which to find hope. We have among us the most amazing, committed young adults that I have ever met, and from whom I have much to learn. They are so committed and working to rebuild the world. We can nurture their work and their dreams. Even as we are pained by the destruction in our world, we can focus our energy on those people here and in other countries who are changing their part of the world. There's so many ways we can be a force for good in the midst of our concern. But this is hard to do if we isolate ourselves. Even in our busy lives, we need to claim the time and energy to deepen our support networks and to build stronger communities. We need to remember that the human spirit and the spirit of life that infuses all human and non-human life does not lie down. It does not die. Indeed, as the poet Dr. Maya Angelou states, still like life, I'll rise. And so we can choose to find meaning in our existence, to find hope in life that still rises. We are here together. We are living, breathing together. The energy we share reminds us that where there is life, there is hope. So I invite us just to sit for a few moments, to get comfortable and just to be together. Close your eyes if that feels right for you, and breathe. Breathe deeply all the way to the bottom of your lungs. Breathe in and out slowly. we are part of the respiration of the earth, breathing. All living things share the air we breathe. As we breathe in, let us breathe in gratitude for our life. As we breathe out, let us give thanks for those who love and support us. Let us breathe in gratitude for all beings that grow and spread and run and swim and fly and hop and slither, for they make our world a miraculous place in which to live. Breathe in gratitude. Gratitude for the human spirit that arises again and again. Let us breathe in gratitude and hope for all that life has given us. Let us breathe in the deep knowledge that we are not alone. We are part of a community gathered in this room, a community around the world who will work beside us to help restore the world. Let us breathe in hope and gratitude. Blessed be. I invite us now to rise in body or spirit